So yeah, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the Social AI Unlock webinar presented by us at Lately. My name is Justin Bradley. I am a generative AI specialist and account authority here at Lately. A few fun things about me. I'm a 15-year part-time professional poker player. So, please feel free to invite me to your home games. Don't look at my win rate. I'm a huge fish. You want me at your game. I was the director of the highest rated restaurant group in Utah. I'm a massive skiing and snowboarding addict, which is, again, relating to that cold. I live out here in Salt Lake City, but I grew up in Vermont where, there was always 2 months of multiple layers of long underwear to get through your day. But yeah, it's not so bad out here in the Midwest. And finally, I'm a big dog person. My first personal dog was an Aussie mix named Lefty. And now I have two giant furball German Shepherds and a Doberman named Apollo, Nova, and Scoob. So let's dive in. How do we get our social content to drive value? The elephant in the room is that 99% of social content creates zero engagement. Issues stem from several factors. First, bad copy. Plain and simple, poorly written, boring social content will just not drive reach. Is your content specifically targeting your ICP? Are you adapting to the audience as it grows? Are you adapting to the audience as it changes and shifts? Are you posting often enough for each platform? Are you meeting those industry best standards when it comes to each of those platforms? Are you able to cut through the flood of content that the new social world is posing? And is your content providing knowledge and insight into pain points for your ICP? How are you identifying what they currently are focused on? Is your tone authoritative? Is it targeted? Does it drive engagement through calls to action? Focus on driving leads. Marketers need to understand, how can we correctly target our ICP? You really need to, one, understand your potential clients and what they want to learn more about so that you can target your thought leadership in that direction. And also you need to identify strategies to isolate promising leads and identify their unique use case. This issue leads to the foundation of lead generation through social content. You need to understand the current evolving issues of your audience. You need to know what exactly are their current pain points and how does your service or product solve this issue. Next, you can cater your social content to address these issues. And finally, offer your service or product that is built to solve these issues. You really need to put yourself in their shoes and identify what they're interested in, and then establish trust. Is social media that's designed to sell through, hey, come check us out. Hey, come buy this. Hey, come look at this new product. All these basic salesy call to actions that were useful and helpful in the past, everyone's brains are now trained to, scroll right past that. When you see that little bit of salesy tone in social, everyone is now just scrolling past. What you're actually looking for is what is driving, insightful learning that your specific ICP needs. What is their core values? What do they need to focus on? What do they offer in terms of helpful services that specifically address any of these pain points, and in the end drive value for your potential customers. Oh, I am here. Let's go back to this one. There we go. So yeah, what you need is content that converts and the strategies and tactics around that. Nothing like talking to a blank wall in a lonely room to the internet. A little bit of that dystopian vibe going. So, the first step is understanding what content is going to work and what content is going to drive leads for your specific ICP. And what you need to identify is, do you have your social out? Are you providing watchable content? Do you have business development and email chains going out to follow up with all this content as it's going out? The world is moving towards that more visual need, and having videos, having infographics, having, short how-tos are really driving that interesting, understand more, learn more about what is actually helping your desired ICP. And then as you're, again, touching back on, as your audience is growing and changing, how are you analyzing that? How are you learning about what your audience is now interested in? How are you identifying how that audience is shifting, and what new topics are they interested in, and how can you build out more content that focuses on those topics? It's the problem, if you have a 20-person social media team, you can dedicate a lot of hours to understanding and studying this. But for those smaller teams, or for those teams that want to be able to scale larger, you really need to have a machine learning tool that's able to identify these subjects and identify exactly what your specific audience is currently interested in. Talking about those calls to action. So, and a big part that matters is, understanding calls to actions that will actually be successful. Touching back, saying, hey, we have this great product, come check it out, is gonna get no love. But talking about a specific part that product, or talking about a specific subject which your product focuses on and solves, developing that trust around that subject, becoming an authority on that subject, will then make it so when you use effective calls to action, they actually get results. People trust that when they click that link, when they check out your profile, there's more to learn about, and they're focusing exactly on what you need to address. Next is creating that emotional bond, by, instead of selling them a product that they think they want, it's much better to, connect with them on an emotional level through, a personalized story, again, through thought leadership pieces, ways that you can connect directly with an experience that they can relate with. And again, we're building more trust. We're establishing ways that they will want to find out more for you. They'll want to go check out your site, and they'll trust that you're a reputable company and or authoritative voice on the subject. And then finally, one of the big issues is, how are you going to distribute this properly, and how are you going to do it in an efficient way? You need to be able to identify how the different platforms are evolving and changing. Everyone knows the basics, that a Twitter post is supposed to be short to the masses. Everyone knows that LinkedIn posts are more business to business related, more in depth and in detail. But the best practices for all these platforms are changing drastically at all times. New platforms are coming up. Being able to identify the correct way to tackle all of these different platforms consistently and at scale is a massive amount of work, and using the tools and platforms available out there in the world today can really alleviate a lot of this stress and a lot of this daily grind work. And then it comes down to the data. So, when I personally have run into this question a lot with people, which is, with the influx of large language models like Google, ChatGPT, all these things, everyone is able to create a plethora of content, but it's not about quantity, it's about the results. Creating content is one thing, but creating content that actually gets people to engage, actually gets people to convert the site is massively, massively different. And even for a great writer, trying to understand the nuanced differences between a good written post that looks shiny and a good written post that drives engagement and results, very hard to understand. It's very hard to pinpoint exactly what key messaging, what tone, what structure your specific audience is interested in that. And having tools that can analyze this and tell you is a massive help for you or your team. The results are what matter, not the quantity. Ooh, some case studies and success stories. So, we're of course, all of this is leading into you need a platform or a tool that can do this for you. You need a tool that's going to say, hey, this is when your audience is checking your social feed. So this is when you need to schedule. You need a tool that says, these are the things your audience is currently interested in. So this is what we want to create content about. You need a tool that says, hey, now we know what your audience is interested in, but how can we create social content that actually gets them to engage, that actually gets them to want to find more, that actually gets them to click that link, check out your site, and be in that next step of converting that sale. So I work many hats at this company, and one of the things I do is data analysis. And the last case study we did was for a company surely you've all heard of, US News and World Report. We did a 6-week study with them. Well, let's step back a second. Again, we're talking about social strategies, but the answer here is we got to, sell you a little bit at the end. Lately, of course, is a platform that addresses all the issues we've just had. Again, at the end, you'll see a link where anyone's able to join with me or one of our teammates to understand more how we could help your specific social strategy. But again, we're talking about why results matter. So let's focus on some results. US News is a perfect example. When I joined and took them on as a client, they were having the same issues I was just talking about, where they're saying, hey, we see that this is well-written content that you're creating for us, but is it actually creating results? Are we actually making a lasting change by using tools like Lately? And the short answer is yes. Specifically with them, what we did was we took a 6-week time period and 2 of their main campaign outputs and did a comparison where they used Lately for part of their output and they used their traditional method for a part of their output. And we compared the two. And why I really like highlighting this specific company is this isn't your average mom and pop small marketing team. This is a group of established social media professionals. And we put Lately up to the test against that team of established social media professionals in, of course, a huge, well-established top 5 publisher. And even versus a team of professionals, our platform truly outshined in 2 ways. One, we get them a huge boost in engagement impressions, but maybe even, and most importantly, we save them a massive amount of time. And to be honest, the results were so overwhelmingly impressive, we kind of are underselling how effective it was. Truly, it was really an epiphany for me because I had been reading these case studies and seeing these, but when I saw the difference it makes on an actual large team of professionals, I was blown away. And I mean, of course, the most impressive thing is the savings. Yeah, so again, talking to a wall here in my echo chamber of nothingness. Happy to answer any questions anyone has. Happy to meet with, I'm happy to, or one of my team members is happy to meet with anyone if they have any questions about social strategy, if they have any questions about using AI in a generative writing term, they have any questions about specifically Lately or other tools. we're more than willing to get with you and answer any questions you might have. Looks like we had a few questions here. Scroll to the top. What are the best industry best standards? So Akila, am I saying your name correctly? So we were talking about industry best practices when it comes to how often to post across different channels. Right now, for LinkedIn, they're suggesting, 2 to 3, 4 social posts a week. Facebook is around 2 to 5. Instagram's around 1 to 2 per day. And Twitter is 2 plus. Most answers you'll see out there say 2 to 5, but you'll also see studies where there are companies that are posting to places like Twitter more than 10 times a day and showing a great results there. So again, yeah, it's like 1 to 3 a week for LinkedIn, around 5 for Facebook, around 5 to 10 for Instagram, and around 10 to 20 per week for Twitter. Honestly, if you're just there's a lot of studies going on about that, and it's always changing, and a quick Google search will give you a good answer there. Keep on going down. Should I see you have another question? Question about the case study for company. Was this case study for company posts or for personal? Yeah, so it was for their official channels. They have several channels across Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. What we did was we had, again, just to get into more detail for that specific study, over a 6-week period of time, they posted about the same subjects with the traditional method and the same subjects with the lately method, and we compared how those two outputs did versus each other. The helpful part about doing it on the same subjects in this same section of time was that we had the control on variance, because instead of saying, oh, well, hey, they got good results in July, but that's because July is one of their best performing times. No, we were doing the same exact time and the same exact subjects matters. And it's a collaborative situation. So it's not that it was lately versus them. It was lately with them versus just them, because it's a collaborative product. Without a great team, their results wouldn't have been as great, but again, still impressive. Any real estate testimonials? Yes, we have a case study with Tricon available on our webpage. We work with several different real estate companies. That's the current public case study. I'm happy to dive more into that if you book a meeting with me or any of my team members are. Any specific? From Norman, any specific uses and or cases for nonprofits with one-person market comms teams? Yes, on our website, we have several different case studies that focus on the one-person do-it-all teams. Lately is awesome for turning one person into a team of social media experts. That's essentially what our product does, is it turns one person into a social media team. Cool. Looks like we've run out of questions. Again, if you're a social person, you have great content, but you're tired of the daily grind of creating social media, you don't have the bandwidth to understand how your audience is adapting and growing, and you don't have the bandwidth to know when to schedule accurately as that changes, a tool like Lately is exactly what you need to drive amazing results. Every single person I work with shows phenomenal boosts into their social engagement. Looks like we're running out of questions. Cool. Yeah. So again, thank you everyone for, oh yeah, Norman, I'm here for anyone needs help or anything. Integrations, we do Hootsuite, HubSpot, Sprinkler. However, our Lately product is all built in. It has everything you need with social built in. Picking the topics, picking the post, and scheduling accurately, you can all do in the system. We also have a built-in approvals process. We have tools to automate almost all of the process. We always do encourage you to collaborate when it comes to picking the actual posts. But yes, we do have integrations. How does it collect data? So users connect their social channels, and we scan the history of their social interactions, and we also continually learn and scan in real time throughout your use of Lately. So we're adapting as you and your audience changes. We are all anonymized data. We meet all of the stringent European and North American data compliance rules. We have a lot of that information also available on our website, or reach out to us and we can answer your specific questions. Sorry for your thoughts on founder focus versus user focused. Oh man, that's a tough one, Chad. So I think that targeting, just to clarify, are you talking about kind of targeting the decision makers versus targeting the actual users? And can you give me a little bit of information about what your product does? I think it's a very dynamic question. You know, if you're targeting the decision makers, I mean, I always think that's a good idea because you're showing them how they can directly be more efficient as a whole. Sometimes targeting the specific users. Who starts in the video is the question. Oh, who starts in the video? Targeting users. Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what? I think a mix of each, you know, by seeing the, so Chad is asking the question, you know, in with your kind of like watchable content, do you want to have like users, like real life users in there telling them how much they love the product, or is it better to have the founders, you know, telling how good their product is? And I think a combination of both. By seeing the actual founders and you talking about your thought leadership and establishing your trust in them by having your face out there, showing people that, hey, you understand your product, you're an avid user of your product, and you understand the complexities of the industry, then people are going to trust you more and want to buy your product more because they trust that you made a great product. On the other hand, seeing real life stories and seeing that your product actually is helping real life people, also amazing. I think a combination of those things is a great answer. It's not a center on increasing user customer engagement. Yeah, Nick. So I mean, we're touching on that. The idea, the main points here is, so Nick said, is this seminar, was this seminar based on increasing user and customer engagement on social media? And let's go back to the beginning. Maybe you skipped over that and I can show you a little bit what we were talking about. Oh, sorry for the brain freeze there. So, you know, just to touch on this again, you know, the main issues are you writing well? Are you targeting your audience well? Are you posting frequently enough? And does it provide value? And are you using correct call to actions? We did touch on that quite in depth, and we're happy to meet with you to answer your specific questions, or this is all recorded and we're going to send this out soon and you'll be able to touch back in. But the short answer is using platforms out there that can do most of the hard grind work and most of the analysis for you to save you time and boost your results is a good strategy to take on. Yes, we do offer nonprofit discounts, Norman, based on a dynamic situation. If you reach out to any of our salespeople, we can answer those questions for you. Nick, we're happy to, Nick, why don't you book a demo with any of our employees and we'll kind of give you more one-on-one help with and cater it towards your specific use case. I don't want to go over the first half of the webinar in front of everyone again. we're hitting that 30-minute mark here. So if that's the end of the questions, we'll wrap it up and look forward to continuing this conversation in the future. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time and enjoy the rest of your evening.